welcome to Corinne's Picks. I'm your host, Corinne Basabe. Today we have a remarkable artist today, Junior Elias Andrews. We've had him on the show on several occasions to talk about carnival traditions. He's an award-winning costume designer. Today, it's a very special episode. We're really going to focus on his as an artist, as a creative. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Corinne.
I forgot to tell them that you're the executive producer of Cook House,
yes.
Jab Jab Productions.
Yes, ma'am.
So welcome to the show again.
Thank you again.
I'm so glad we're going to talk about your art.
Yes.
So how would you describe your art? Like, what are you trying to, I guess, like, what is your theme of your art?
At this point, it's expressionism.
Okay.
It started with using brush strokes and paints to create expressions, how I felt. So the art was a gateway to mental health for me. So at this point in time now, it's just expressionism.
Okay, expressionism.
Yeah.
And over the years, I've seen that you've blended your art, like some of your costumes also, seems like you also
Yes.
put art on the fabrics as well.
Yes. But the idea behind that is that everything has an art component to it. Doesn't matter if it's architecture, designing a road, there's some art, you have to do some kind of art. So what I did is just I took the abstract work that I did and added to the costume and added to the carnival story and make it and introduce as a product.
Okay, so do you mind, can we see the first slide so the audience actually, we're talking about his art, but I just want to make sure that they can see. So tell us a little bit about this image.
This particular image is called Love. And the idea behind love is like, love is love. So love can be in different color, love could be different texture. So I use fabric. On one side I use a green and yellow to highlight love you, and on the other side I just use the blue to say love. With abstract.
Really love that. I really love that piece.
Thank you.
And what kind of paints are you using?
At this particular juncture, I'm using fabric paint.
Oh,
I
fabric paint.
normally use house paint.
The house paints.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is the size of that piece?
It's about a yard, 2 yards.
Oh, 2 yards.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're predominantly using fabrics from the fabric store, or is it canvas sometimes?
I use both.
Both
Canvas and fabric. But today I just brought the fabric because it was lighter.
Okay.
And
So
that's
I think years ago you told me about some tradition of fabric painting in the islands.
yeah. They have batik, they have tie-dye,
Mm-hmm.
they have freestyle painting. This is the freestyle.
Okay.
And also it's merged into the abstract as well too. There's an artist called Leroy Clark from Trinidad and Tobago. He had a phenomenal pieces called Obia. And when you look at them, there's different interpretations of people. When folks look at the art, they interpret it differently, depends on who's looking at it. But the main theme of it is African art. The foundation is African art. So he uses a lot of expressionism, a lot of activism in his art. He tells story, and that's what I do.
So tell me a little bit about your creative journey. How did you become an artist?
That started in 2011, but it really started in 2009 when I went through a heartbreak. And I really suffered emotionally from 2009 till 2010, about 2011. And I was really going through a very tough time because my heart got broken really badly. And I needed something to ground myself. I prayed and asked God for direction and to show me my skills, and art came out.
And so, how did you start? I mean, did you start just painting in a home and selling at events? Like how have you been?
Well, literally, I started on the walls of the house.
Okay.
I started doing squares in my bedroom.
Okay.
And then that led to other part of the apartment, painting the walls and using that as a tool to get over anxiety, depression, stress, not being angry. So I painted. And then it moved from the walls to canvas, and from canvas to fabric, and from fabric to body art. And then from body art, it just keep evolving. It just keep evolving as it go along. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, who are some of the people that artists that have inspired you?
Definitely Bosco Holder, Leroy Clark, Trinidad and Tobago, both Trinidad and Tobago and citizen. Jackson Pollock. I like Sam Gillian as well. I also like a couple of Alma Thompson. She was 70 years when she started painting.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
and she's the only artist, she's the first female artist who had her painting be brought to the White House when Michelle Obama was in,
wow.
President Obama was in office. Right, and so those are some of the things that inspire me, but generally, my biggest inspiration is Carnival. My biggest inspiration. When I go to Carnival as a participant myself, or producer of costumes and stories, just the very idea of being there, people.
And it's really exciting watching you. You know, I've watched you at a Carnival event, you know, pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was really exciting because even though the costumes are made, you're continuing to create, you're painting on people's bodies, you're painting on their faces. You know, like each participant, each person in your troupe was like a walking work of art.
And that's what I like. I like authenticism. I like one of a kind. I don't like to repeat stuff. I'm not very good at repeating.
Right.
So whatever is done, and I leave it.
And you really have inspired others. I mean, I love watching, you know, I guess watching the images of you working with the little children, you know, teaching them about the Carnival tradition and teaching them about costuming.
That's fun. That's fun.
So this piece, what is this?
It's the same piece.
Oh, this is a piece called Love.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to touch.
Oh, definitely.
It's really wonderful.
Can we help you?
Okay. So this is a piece called Love.
Yeah.
Hey, can I see the other image on the screen? So the okay, so this is Love. And tell us a little bit about this one.
This one is basically the black and white is the abstract. It was inspired by Gillian, Pollock, that type of movement of using abstract art to express from the 1940s, 1950s, because at that time when World War was happening, a lot of Americans were very like stressed out and needed something to anchor themselves to. So abstract art became the thing to go to. And people like Jackson Pollock who stand out in that arena. But when you look closely at what he was doing, it's also influenced from African traditions as well across the diaspora. And if you go to Carnival, you see different types of people may throw a splash of paint here or splash of paint there. And we wouldn't think it's art. But when you look at it from a different perspective, you say, oh, that can be an art piece.
Well, what I love about the Carnival tradition and folk art is that you use what you have.
Yes.
To create art.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Yes.
And it's something that is a great equalizer.
Yes.
You know, that's the one time of year that everyone's equal. And actually, the more outrageous or interesting the materials you use, the funny, the more humorous it is.
And it's not just also that as well, it's a therapy. It is one of the ways where people release stress. They can dance in the street, they can meet friends, they can party, they can be anybody they want.
Exactly.
Anybody, anything that you think about, you can become that for that period of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, anything.
I also think that, you know, art is very important these days because so much of what we're doing is so passive in terms of, you know, the way we intake, you know, social media, the news broadcasts, and it's important that we become information makers. For example, this piece here, Love, you know, it's something that makes people have to reflect on that whole issue, you know, of, you know, civil rights, equality, human justice. And so even though it's abstract, but the word love is actually written on both sides.
Right, because a lot of people see love in different dimensions.
Exactly.
And different ways. So some may see love as just love, and some may see love you.
Right.
As to communicate, this is how I feel about you.
Exactly.
So what I did with work is that I created, the word just came to me and I started to use the word. And I started to the painting in between to create that motif of, okay, what is happening here? So you look beyond just the hues of the color and to get the message. Because in every piece of art that there is on the earth, there is a message or story behind it.
I mean, it's a piece of art, and it has a very powerful message, but it's also an act of resistance too.
It is. It is.
Because especially in the Caribbean community in particular, in the African American community, there's been a difficulty in kind of having space for human rights for everyone. So I mean, they're still grappling with LGBT rights. So I think it's really it's important to put that in art.
I think it's not just important to put it in art. It is a lifeline for expression. Art creates space where there is no space. It creates discussion where there is no discussion. It creates thinking where there is dumbing down of thinking. So when a person like myself use the word love, unless you ask me what I mean, you may interpret it to be one thing, but you have to first figure out how did I arrive at that juncture to say, I'm going to do a piece called love. And that love is not a love that you can pick up from outside and then say, okay, I'm going to make love to it. It's a love from inside.
Exactly.
It's love of who you are, love of where you come from, love of your culture, love of your history.
Exactly.
And by knowing that, you can truly love you.
Exactly. It's a stand. It's definitely
It is a statement.
A very powerful statement.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to go for a commercial break. We'll be back with Corinne's picks and with the wonderful Elias.
Thank you.
Andrews.
Appreciate it.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Or how did I get here? I can see now.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Poor Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Shug. You know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for you. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
Welcome back to Corinne's Picks. I'm your host, Corinne Basabe. We've been talking to the wonderful Junior Elias Andrews.
Yes, ma'am.
He's the producer, executive producer of
Everything.
Concrete House, Jab Jab Productions, and he is a wonderful artist. We've been talking about his works on canvas and fabrics. Tell me a little bit about this piece. We showed it on camera, but I just want to explore this piece a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
So this piece, is obviously reminiscent of Jackson Pollock. What is your, this is the body of work you're doing now. What is your goal I know that you're going to be studying a full course of study at Medgar Evers College.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your intention, because I know you've been an artist for so many years, it's kind of going backwards. What is your intention in terms of your art
My basic intention was going to school was not just for learning, because I think education is a tool. It's not the be and all or be all. It's a tool. It's to gain the degree that I can use it to further my art and to explore more avenues that I can be in or be part of. And that's the reason for that, for going for that.
Because, you know, when I look at this piece, especially the one called Love, you know, I'm thinking, God, I would love to have, you know, an outfit, you know, even an African outfit or Japanese inspired kimono made with these fabrics. I mean, you might end up stumbling into, you know, costume design like you've been doing with Carnival, but actually for the retail market for.
I never thought about that.
Because
From that
when
perspective.
I touch this fabric,
Definitely,
and
that's definitely.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just love the colors, and I just love, you know, the one of a kind designs. You know, I would love to see this in apparel, even sportswear. Have you been painting on clothing and wearing it in the street at all?
Yes, I have. I started doing that in 2011, and what I do is that, based on where I'm going, sometimes I would just paint something. I have some clients who I paint clothes for. I teach them how to recycle. So that's what I'm doing the workshop on the 15th of this month,
Okay.
Till the 5th of August.
And can you just advertise this workshop? Where is this workshop going to be again?
It's going to be at 227 Utica Avenue,
Okay.
Stratosphere Studios.
Okay.
It's between St. John and Sterling Place. It starts at 2 p.m. and finishes at 4. So there's 2 different
And
classes.
how many classes altogether are you going to have?
I am doing from the 15th to the 5th is about 4 classes, 4 or 5 classes.
Okay.
But what I've done, I've broken up the classes into an hour class. So from 2 to 3 and from 3 to 4. So who can come for 2 can come for 4.
And what is the admission fee?
$35.
Okay. How
Um,
can they register for this class?
They can call me at 347-513-1075, or my email address is cocoritehouse@gmail.com.
And can you spell Cookery House?
COCORITEHOUSE. It's also on Facebook and also on
Okay.
Instagram.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay.
So you can reach me at any of those. Definitely, if you want to talk to me in person, you can call me at 347-513-1075 anytime.
Okay.
Don't call me after midnight. That's
Okay.
about it. After midnight, I'll be sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how do you envision, where would you like to go with your art artistically?
I would
What
like.
is something that you haven't done that you would like to do?
I would definitely like to do an exhibition in the park. Exhibition of colors in the park. I like to do some museums. I would like to do.
When you say in the park, do you mean like the gates of Christoph's gates or something like that?
Yes. I saw that years ago,
Okay.
and that inspired me a lot.
Okay.
I just like the orange he just used, just the orange alone, and it made such a big statement. So I would like to do something like that.
And his was basically out of just fabric.
Yes, just fabric. Because one of the things about fabric is that fabric can be used in so many different ways. And the medium of fabric can be, you can take fabric and paint it, and then use it as part of your fashion, or part of a tablecloth, or part of a flag. Or
Right.
It is different statements. Or the idea behind using canvas
Okay.
is using expressions as well. So
Okay.
fabric can give you the same expressions as canvas.
Okay.
The difference is that you can wear the fabric, as opposed to the canvas. It's going to be stationary
Okay.
in one part of your home.
Okay.
So with the fabric, as I say with the Komodo, you can wear it. You can wear it more than one occasions.
Absolutely.
And if somebody wants something like particularly styled to them, that can be done as well too.
And it's original piece of your art.
Yes, it
It's
is.
original
It's-
art.
there's no copies. I don't do copies.
It's your DNA.
Yeah. One of the things I have learned working in the senior homes and working with students in the public school is that, as you said earlier, before we went on camera, once you engage people, they stay engaged. And people want to be able to express themselves. They may not want to speak it, but they may want to write it, or they may want to dance, or they may want to sing.
Right, right.
You know, so art in itself is not stagnant. It's a moving parts. So when I do the class, the workshop is to teach people how you can take that inner energy and put it out on a piece of fabric,
Exactly.
or take the same fabric or take a piece of clothing you have home in a closet, sit down there doing nothing, and recreate it, reimagine
exactly.
it, recycle it. And especially when the economy is getting a little tougher, you don't need to go and buy new things every day. You can recycle your clothes.
So it sounds like art really changed your life. You said that you started it when you were in a deep depression.
Yes.
And that it actually helped you through. So I know that have you worked with people in terms of mental health and art?
I have done a couple of classes called I forget.
About
I just went
spiritual
back.
healing?
But both.
Right.
What happened is that when you go into conversation with people with art, everybody comes at different levels of stories. So calypso therapy for me, I did that for a while. I did poetry to calypso, which was using calypso music with paint to create this type of stories. So when you hear music, music can inspire you to get up and move, or make you feel depressed and make you feel happy.
Right.
So what I do is I use music as part of the vehicle to bring out some of the traumas on fabric or on a canvas and leave it there.
I know I've heard like Prince and Michael Jackson talk about their creating music as being like they feel like they're channeling something from other, like a spiritual world into the present world. And I've also heard painters talk about, I mean, even myself, you know, I didn't really study art, but I feel like when I create art paint, I don't feel like it's even me. I feel like I'm channeling somebody else is doing it, not me.
First to begin, God is a creator. So doesn't matter what spectrum of religion you come from or belief you come from, is a creative. The creative spirit runs very deep and very high. When you express what you feel, an emotion is not just something you just say, oh, I feel this way. No, it comes from somewhere. So it comes from within you. So the creator gives you that gift to create. And when you create, you say thank you. Creating is a part of saying thank you back to God. And that's as simple as that. It doesn't confuse us. It's not no mathematical situation. It's basically you being able to be in tune with who you are and take what you feel as an expression and put it out there.
What do you think your greatest challenge have been as an artist?
Wow, there's so much.
No kidding. You're not kidding.
One of my greatest challenges as an artist is to feel appreciated for work and not be taken for, like, some people want your work, but they want it free. So they don't want to pay for it, but they want it. So they value what they do, they put you on a scale and try to bait you to bring yourself down. But when you're an artist who have to live every day, pay rent, struggle, do everything else, you need money. So my biggest challenge has been money. However, it has not been my biggest obstacle. My biggest obstacle for me would be figuring out what I want to do and how I want that to look. Given like these pieces here, when these pieces was created, the style of strokes of the brush is emotions. These are all emotions. One of my friends who I asked to look at this piece, he said to me, these are like spiritual stories. And I said, what? And I understood what he meant, but I want him to tell me what he saw. And that, for me, I travel between the spiritual and the carnal plane when I work. When I go into my work, I get lost. I get completely lost. And I just let the spirit take over and create.
Yeah, I love the fact that this has two different energies being, displayed. This style that, is very crowded and busy.
Yes.
And this one that, has almost like circular movements that actually distinct circular movements. I said that I thought that I could see this work on costume designs, but I'm also seeing set designs for theater, like the backdrop.
I am so willing for that. Yes, I'm so willing for that. I really love that as well too. I really love that. I love the idea of creating large pieces.
Exactly.
Because I have like I have a couple of large pieces, like about 100 large pieces, which I keep for myself. and I'm going to do an exhibition, God willing, next year. But the whole idea behind where you're going to go with art, sometimes you don't really know, because you can think one thing, and then something else completely comes and happens, like the pandemic, and you have to rethink, reimagine, revision. So what I do when I teach, I let people teach me, as opposed to I always teaching them. So if you tell me what you're feeling, and I said, okay, let's think about it for a minute, and then you go with it, and see where it takes you.
What do you think what is some challenge you'd like to take on, creatively? What would you like to learn? What culture or what discipline would you like to learn
I would
in art?
love to get myself completely immersed back into African art, Polynesian art as well too. I try to travel the world, travel as much places as I can, and see as much creative people and much creative styles, because everywhere you go, like I went to Colombia, and I went to District 13, and I was so blown away by the way how they transformed this ghetto area, this really hard knocks area, into a artistic paradise. And then when I go home to Trinidad and Tobago, and I go for Carnival, and I see the people in the street partying, and I see the costume, and I see the revelry, and I see the love, and I see the it excites me. So if I can travel as much as I can, I will take it. I will take it, and I will teach as much as I can. But the whole thing about as you grow as an artist, there is a discipline that comes with it as well. There's a pain, and there's a certain sadness can come with it, or a certain depression can come with it, because you're all alone sometimes in your thoughts. And to convey those thoughts is not always easy. So for me, this is part of my solace. Art saved my life, and it gave me a different perspective and purpose.
I found that sometimes when I'm doing large paintings, it's like an act of faith. I don't worry about the outcome in terms of whether it's going to turn out okay. It's almost like blind faith. And some of the best pieces I've created is just by taking the biggest risk.
Yeah. I can say the same thing too, because for myself in 2015, when I started doing individual mass in Brooklyn and then went to Trinidad to do it, I was scared as out of my wits. I was so scared. But I said, okay, I'm going to do it, because I like challenging myself, and I like seeking out things that people say, oh, don't do. I'll be like, don't do. I'm doing it.
So, it's been wonderful having you on the show again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have to wrap it up, but hopefully I will invite you over, and I hope you'll come on the show again.
Oh, I definitely will come back. I look forward to seeing you on the 15th if you can, or between the 15th or the 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. Appreciate it.